Hi everyone, it's Laura Volpes and today I'm going to share with you the setup for my bullet journal for the month of July 2020. As always, if you do enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, you can subscribe for more card making, paper crafting and bullet journaling inspiration. And now let's get started. As always, I will be using products from the Canvo Kit subscription. Every month you get a small stamp set with the name of the month written in 3 different fonts. You also get a second stamp set which you can use to create your spread, and I love the theme of this month. And then lastly you get a stencil which is the perfect size to fit on the pages of your Canvo bullet journal. Mine one is called Doodle Garden and I love it. I also am going to use this new to me ink collection. This is called Spring Fling and I think it's perfect for bullet journaling because the colors are nice and bright, but they are a little bit pastel-y, so they don't make your spreads too vibrant, which is something that I personally prefer. I'm also going to use midnight ink and some fineliners to create my spreads, so now it's time to move on and to see what I did for my monthly spread. I always do my layouts with the pencil first, and for my monthly spreads I like to go with a month on 2 pages type of view. I used the half calendar stencil by Catherine Puller Designs to pencil in my calendar, and now I'm going in over what I have drawn down using a fine liner and my ruler, and I'm basically just creating my calendar. The boxes are 6 by 6 squares and I feel that this is enough for me to be able to write down what I have to do on a specific date, and then I'm going to break up the tasks or assign tasks on my weekly views based on what I have in my monthly calendar. I then started decorating the spread a little bit and I'm using the larger stamp in the kit. I'm using Midnight Ink by Catherine Puller Designs to stamp this tripod with the canvas, and then I'm going to further decorate it with other stamps in that same set. Because the stamping didn't come out 100% perfect, it was the first time actually that I used this stamp, so it wasn't really conditioned. I went in with a fine liner and fixed any stamping imperfections, and then I stamped this greeting that says "Art has no rules," which is great. I also added a few brush strokes using 3 different colors of Catherine Puller inks from the Spring Fling collection. These are It's a Boy, It's a Girl and Meant to Be, and I have to say that I really love the color combination that I used for this month's spread. I just love looking at them and I think they're just too pretty. By the way, these inks are available also as regular ink pads on the Catherine Puller store or in this nice bundle with the mini inks, which is very convenient because they don't take up a lot of space on your desk. I tend to be a little bit messy, so that helps. I am also using the smaller stamps in the set to stamp areas in my calendar where I'm going to write the day in the month, and then I'm stamping again these brush strokes at the top of the calendar so that I can highlight the days in the week. The stamp set that I'm using is called Bullet Journal Basics and my weeks start on Monday and end on Sunday. So I have the first 3 days of the week on my first page and the last 3 on the second page of my spread. At this point I can come in with my pen and fill in those areas with the days in the month, and I always do this with my phone on the side so that I can check that I am writing the correct day in the correct spot in my calendar, and despite that I still make mistakes, but it doesn't matter, right? Our bullet journals are for ourselves, so they can be as messy as we want. On the side of my spread here, I'm going to have a space for notes, and then I'm going to have my social media growth tracker here. For this month, I decided to try and not follow the growth on my social media on a week by week basis, but I am going to basically just write what followers I have at the beginning of the month, and then I'm going to come back at the end of the month and check what the growth looks like. I'm also using more stamps in that set in the Canvo kit for the month of July to decorate these boxes here, and then I'm going to fill them in by writing notes on the top one and social on the bottom one. But before that, I obviously have to stamp the name of the month, and I decided to use this stamp here with the hand-lettered font, which is really beautiful, and I'm stamping that at the bottom of my second page here where I have enough space for it. And then I decided to add an extra touch to it by inking it up with It's a Boy ink and then stamping it slightly shifted so that I create kind of a drop shadow effect, and I also bring in a little bit more of that pastel blue in my second spread. I'm going to use my Papermate pen here to fill in these boxes and write the title and also write down the names of the social media platforms that I want to follow. By the way, if you are interested in following me elsewhere, everything is also listed and linked in the description box down below. I am active on Instagram, on my blog, on Facebook, and there I share even more content than here on YouTube, so you might want to check that out if you want to receive more inspiration from me. At this point, you could call this spread done, and I think it looks really pretty, but I wanted to add an extra detail to it, so I decided to draw in some drop shadows around my calendar as well as my boxes on the side of the second page. And what that means is basically that I am making the lines at the bottom and on the left portion of each box here just a little bit thicker, and I'm going over them using the same Fineliner that I used to draw in the calendar and my ruler. This, by the way, will be a mixture of Faber-Castell and Spectrum Noir file liners. This is the finished spread, and I have to say that I really love it. I am absolutely in love with the theme of this month's subscription and with the color palette that I chose. Next, I'm going to create some trackers, and for that I'm using the weekly 5 stencil as well as the stencil that was included with the July Canvo Club Kit subscription. As always, I went in with a pencil first, and then I am going to go over all the boxes that I created using my Fineliner and this little ruler here. In this first page here, I'm going to have my social media trackers, which are trackers where I just record every time that I post on one of my social media platforms, whether it's my blog, my YouTube channel, my Instagram, my Pinterest, you know what I mean. And then I decided at the bottom, where I usually have my weekly trackers for the growth of my social media platforms, I'm going to instead have 2 boxes where I'm going to record my income and my expenses. And I don't know if I was optimistic or pessimistic in terms of income and expenses, because I don't have a lot of space for either of them. So I was either expecting not to make a lot of money or not to spend a lot of it. Let's see, I don't know. We'll see at the end of the month. Anyway, I added again those little bullet points in the shape of artist palettes, which are so cute. And then I'm going to write in the titles of all the boxes. And by the way, guys, I am on the lookout for a nice pen to write in my bullet journal, because the one that I'm using is pretty nice, but it's not waterproof. So please let me know which your favorite pen is for your bullet journals. I'm also using a Stabilo Fineliner to draw in little boxes to basically create little calendars inside each of my trackers. And I also like to write down the initials of the weekdays on top of these little calendars, because I find it easier for me to go ahead and fill them in, because then I know more or less at which point in the calendar I am in the month. Anyway, at this point the trackers are ready, the income and expenses sections are ready, and I just had to basically have fun and decorate the page. I decided to stamp this artist palette using It's a Girl ink, and then I added this sentiment that says I was created to create, which is fantastic and so appropriate for us crafters, right? In the second page here, I'm going to try and track my habits, so I have the same exact layout as in my previous page, and this is why I didn't show it to you, and I'm just decorating it using this paintbrush image and the same It's a Girl ink by Catherine Puller. The habits that I'm going to track are my water intake, whether I had fruit and vegetables during the day, if I had snacks at all, if I did spend some time outside here in the backyard to get a little bit of vitamin D, and if I stuck to my routine. My routine is outlined at the bottom of the page near the to-do and ideas section, and this is basically a space where I try and break down my day in chunks, so where I basically just write down when I'm supposed to start working, taking breaks, having lunch, and all that stuff to try and have a little bit of structure in my days. I'm finding it even harder these days to, as I said, to be structured in my days, so hopefully this will help. I'll let you guys know. Here is my tracker spread, and now it's time to move on and work on my first weekly layout. You do know, if you follow my bullet journal videos, that I love a vertical layout, and so I'm using again this weekly 3 stencil, which is such a staple for my bullet journaling. I'm going to have the first 3 days of the week in the first page and then the last 4 in the second page. And then at the top I have sections where I write additional stuff, like I have my notes in the second page, and for my first page here I decided to try and have some sort of a meal plan. I have no idea how that is going to go. I'm not sure if it's going to be a meal plan or more likely it's going to be a meal tracker because, I have to be realistic. I don't think I'll be able to manage my time that well. Anyway, on the second page at the top, I have a larger box for notes, which is basically everything I have to do during the week, which is not yet assigned to a specific date. And then the little box on the top right is going to be the tasks that I have for next week, because I always like to know what's coming next. Also, because supposedly weekends are a little bit more free, I have Saturday and Sunday in 2 smaller boxes there on the rightmost area of the page. And one other thing that I wanted to mention is that I like to have the entire week on my page. So whenever a month starts on a day that is not a Monday, I'm still going to have whatever days are left from the previous month in my first weekly spread for that month. So to explain this a little bit better, as you can see from the little calendar that I'm writing there at the top, July is starting on a Wednesday, which is also today. So I'm going to have also June the 29th and June the 30th in this weekly spread. This is just how I like to work because I like to have an overview of the entire week, but whatever works for you, right? At the top I have a little banner that says what week in the month we are at, and then I started decorating the spread a little bit with this crayon image that is going to be what outlines or highlights the areas where I'm going to write the dates. So I'm starting with the numbers, and then I debated whether to use again that bullet journaling basic stamp set to write the days in the week, but I decided instead to just write them with kind of a hand lettering font, which is not a true hand lettering font, but it's just a little bit of a fancier version of my handwriting. As I mentioned at the top, I have my area for notes and whatever is coming next week, and this is my weekly spread. Here's a quick flip through at my month. It's very simple. I don't have a lot of pages at all, but I just wanted to start trying and organize my life a little bit better, being a little bit more aware of my habits, but I also want to do it step by step because I don't want to put too much on my plate and then I basically don't do anything because I'm too overwhelmed. Alright you guys, that was it for my bullet journal setup for the month of July 2020. As always, if you did enjoy the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section down below. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more card making, paper crafting and bullet journaling inspiration. And as always, thank you all so much for stopping by. Stay safe and healthy and have a great day.